Welcome back to the Power to Build show, the podcast where we explore the trends, technologies, and people shaping the future of home building. Marco and I are joined by an industry veteran today, someone who's constantly in the field talking to builders across North America, our very own Chris Graham, president of Constellation HomeBuilder Systems. Chris spends a lot of time on the road, meeting with builders across the US and Canada. He also recently attended the Builder 100 Leadership Summit, where he connected with some of the top minds in the industry. With a front row seat to the challenges and innovation shaping home building, we're excited to tap into his perspective today. Chris, so happy to have you join us today. Wanted to start things off by talking a little bit about the Builder 100 Summit. We, along with the management team here at Constellation, always attends these events. To you, what stood out to you this year in terms of all the conversations that you had with the peers and all the builders that were there at the event?
Yeah, sure. Great. First of all, thanks for having me again.
Of course.
It's been a couple of years since I joined your podcast, and It's great to see you guys doing this and sharing some of the stories from around the industry. Yeah, as you mentioned, we attended and sponsored the Builder 100 event. We look at that as it's a good event in terms of meeting with a lot of our builders, customers, and future customers from the industry. It's a professional setting. It's a great, opportunity to just interact and demonstrate Constellation's long-term approach to the industry and to learning from our customers. We typically bring a few people from the company there, sometimes newer people who we want to get immersed into the industry and get to know people. Other times it's some of our more experienced staff as well. And it's good for everybody to maintain relationships and get to know the current trends and topics and really what our customers and what the industry is thinking about.
Awesome. And we also wanted to look a little past beyond the summit. And every day you're talking to builders. Bryan and I are doing the same. You've been traveling a lot. We're always seeing a couple of weeks I've been in the office. But what are you hearing from builders about 2025 market conditions and how they're squeezing their margins?
Generally, most of our customers are proceeding with caution, right? There's just a lot of uncertainty out there. If nothing else, it's an opportunity for them to look within their business and try to figure out how they can make quick decisions or respond to their home buyer needs, right? Whether it's potential home buyers or current home buyers, right? You've got to really think about your prospect experience and your customer experience. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff, obviously, that happens in between as you're operating your business and trying to make sure that you're working well with your partners, all of your employees, everyone's working well together, make sure they have the information they need to run the business. So I would say, generally from a market perspective, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. There would be, whether it's interest rates, whether it's tariffs, whether it's labor availability, whether it's material availability, whether it's consumer confidence or the cost increases associated with building a home, maintaining their land pipeline, maintaining a sales pace. There's just a lot going on. Right? And every time I talk to our customers, it's always around, obviously we talk a lot about data and how they can leverage data. So we tend to gravitate towards the data that they have access to, how we can help them get more value from their data, how we can help them make better decisions or uncover things in their business that they can act on to make it better.
For sure, Chris. Appreciate those insights. Obviously, this year has been, to your point, there's certainly been some uncertainty. Marco and I speak to builders all the time of different roles. Obviously, given that you're the president of Constellation, you speak with maybe different roles, right, with builders. What are you hearing from people that you're speaking with? Where are they turning to offset some of those pressures? Are there any creative or strategic shifts that you're seeing from the builders that you've been speaking with?
Yeah, when I think about some of the recent customer conversations I've had, there's a lot. The story is still different in different regions. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of migration within the US, migration within Canada. Some markets are behaving much different than others. And so, I think, to say across the board, everything's the same, it's just not the case. At the same time, there's consistent concerns across different regions. I would say with these concerns, there's opportunity as well. Any sort of slowdown in the business can be offset by taking a look at your efficiency and maybe cleaning up some of your processes that were too difficult to clean up when you were super busy. So,
Right.
a lot of the approach that we take within our own business and as we talk to customers is around, thinking a few years out. So if in a few years you're going to still be in business, which we expect we certainly will be, and we expect our customers will be, take some time to reevaluate some of your processes, engage with, obviously with Constellation, where we can help you look at how you're doing things, maybe suggest ways to get more out of your system, how to be a little more efficient, how to get better data, better reporting. We can help with all of those things. And it's great when the teams have some time to focus on that. For us, I think if you're thinking, long term again, you make different decisions. We're investing in our products for the long term. We know our builders are thinking long term in terms of their land holdings and land commitments and where they're going to be building 3 or 4 years from now, given all the approvals and process around actually being able to build on a piece of land. So not only that, but I think we really respect a lot of what our customers are doing in terms of the risks that they take, in terms of committing to land or committing to a particular region. Like these are multi-year decisions, and there's just a lot that can change. So being able to adapt and make the most of whatever situation you're in is important. And you really need data and good partnerships to be able to do that. Just to bring this all together. A company like Constellation, we look long term. We're investing in our products for the long term. We have long-term relationships with our customers, and our best customers are ones that engage with us to really help make their business more efficient or provide the tools that their team needs in order to be more effective.
Oh, that's great. And a couple of your points really struck close to home for me, just given the conversations that I've had with some of our customers. And it's the customers calling us and letting us know that, hey, we know things are slow right now, especially here in Ontario. I'm regularly visiting customers here, and one of them said to me, they're like, we know that it's slow right now, but we want to improve all of our systems and make sure everything's working so that when it does get busy, we're ready to go and we're ahead of everyone else. So when you mentioned tightening operations and when using their data, that was great. But when it comes to data and technology and bringing more discipline to construction costs, so obviously looking at the fine tuning everything and looking closely at your numbers, how are they specifically using technology to bring more discipline to their construction costs? And whether it's through the ERP, their analytics, or other tools, how are they necessarily using technology to improve on this?
Yeah, we have some builders when they look at the performance of their business, a lot of it is manual, right? Like someone is getting the basis of the analysis report or whatever it is they're looking at. But then there's a lot of work that goes on in Excel to present it or to correct it or whatever. What we try to do is get the data correct in the system, right? So if it's not in the system, it's not the truth. So get everything into the system. Make sure that you can run that report repeatedly so that you run the report on Monday and you run the same report on Tuesday. It should be the same numbers that you're getting out of it certainly for prior periods, things that you wouldn't expect to change. And once you have that, asking good questions. So you need to know what the comparisons are, what you're going to measure yourself against. And that's where our solutions like Builder Metrics come together, right? We'll give you very good reporting and dashboards and tools to analyze your business in a consistent manner that comes directly from our systems. But it also gives you the opportunity to benchmark your business on different metrics and really do that comparison. So you can look at your job costs per square foot, your sales price per square foot, or how many options you're selling in a particular community over a period of time, and which options are selling well, which ones are high margin, right? Are you focusing on the right things to maximize your margins or maximize the return on that investment in terms of the homes that you're selling? I think like I said, some of the best builders are really working with us to help clean up their data and make sure that they're getting the best information out of their systems. The other thing, is a lot of the best builders are relying on their partners, right? So they're having these open conversations like, hey, if they do want to offset some price increases, how can they go about doing that? Is there something that they could do a little bit differently or more to help that trade or supplier be more efficient? And so you can really only do that with communication and collaboration. I feel like our company Constellation is always available for customer conversations, always available to help them make things better and make their business more efficient or their teams more effective. And you really only get that if you have a good partnership that you can lean on, and you can reach out to the partner to have that conversation and know that you can both make improvements to improve the situation for each other.
Awesome. And yeah, Chris, you mentioned job costs and cost per square foot being like really important KPIs that builders are looking at. Are you able to share a couple more that you've heard when you're meeting with presidents and CFOs? What are they looking at? What KPIs are they really honing in on and trying to understand to improve their business?
Well, I think affordability obviously is huge, right? So everyone's trying to manage their costs, everyone's trying to maintain margins. When there's uncertainty, there's different levels of incentive in the industry. Builders will buy down rates in some areas. So there's things like that they're looking at. So any comparisons around price per square foot, absorption rate in a community over a period of time, you should know, are you selling one home per month in this community while all your peers are selling 3 homes per month? There's a difference there that I think the builders should be aware of. And in that sense, you got to know if you're performing from a sales perspective. Obviously, you want to make sure that your production process is in place. You want to know how many specs you have in the ground, how many of your sales are to be built versus inventory homes. And so there's a lot of things that builders can look at. If you look, there's definitely when I talk about affordability, it's a big focus of the industry, but we haven't really made much of a dent in it, right? And so when costs increase, interest rates increase, it doesn't really do much for affordability. I think a lot of builders are really looking at ways right now to build more affordable homes for families. And I think in both Canada and the US, the governments are really trying to encourage some increases in production, right? I think both governments have said that they want to encourage the creation of more new homes and housing opportunities for people that want them.
That's great, Chris. And data in our industry is huge, and we're big on data here at Constellation. Fortunately, we do have a phenomenal product in Builder Metrics that builders depend on daily to make key business decisions. Are you finding, just honing in on what you just said, right? How are production builders using real-time supply chain data to manage cycle time load? Are there any measurable results that you've seen?
Yeah, I think as an industry overall, there's been, very little improvement in cycle time across the industry. I think there's still a lot of variation from builder to builder in how they measure it, but generally, I would say it's been fairly consistent for many years. Now, it's a lot of, I think, maybe initiatives or efforts to try and improve it, whether there's more like manufactured panels or more higher level of assembly before things get to the job site. But I don't think there's been much of a dent. So I think there's still opportunity to improve that. And I think it's going to come back to better collaboration between builders and trades and how those jobs and how the construction schedules are managed. So I think hopefully we'll start to see better visibility into cycle time, and we'll see builders really focus on making improvements and using their entire extended construction team to make the situation better. You get that through collaboration. I think other metrics or things in the industry, there's also a lot of focus on customer experience. Some of the key sort of profitability erosion issues would be warranty, right? That's been one. I think have a great case study on our website with one particular builder that has just revolutionized their warranty process, saved a ton of money, and really improved their bottom line in doing so. And they're really only able to do that by looking at the data. Certainly, we provided a platform for doing so, but they had a really good team that was really curious and really wanted to address the problem. I think combine a curious team with some good technology, I think you can do a lot. When you've got a team like that is curious and asks questions and keeps drilling down, I think you can get some really good results. And so that's an amazing case study. It's just a great story. It's nice to see.
And yeah, and I've seen that case study and I'm very familiar with it as a customer. I'm one of the customer experience managers here. And it's always great seeing something like that because we're always preaching to builders saying, hey, take a look at these products. We don't try to come off as we're selling to them. We're trying to show them a solution to their problems. And when we showed them these solutions to their customer experience, it really made things a lot easier for them. But without builder metrics, they weren't even able to see that problem in the first
Yeah.
place. They were just bleeding costs and had no idea. And because they were proactive and they really dove deep into warranty and wanted to improve their processes, they saved a ton of money. And from your perspective, when builders are using these tools proactively versus those who are reacting to problems, what is it that you normally see? What sets those builders apart?
I think there's a couple things. So I think the best builders, when we talk about a modern home builder, it's where you have senior people at the company who are encouraging the team to ask questions, allowing them to really dig in and make decisions based on the data. I think in this particular case, they've got really flexible thinking at the high levels, and the team really rallied around it. Like I said, they've got a really curious data team who love getting to the bottom of any particular issue or always asking questions. And that's what we love to see, and we love to support that. So, like a modern home builder, you've got to be able to embrace technology, but also really think about the process and how you're building these homes or how you're selling homes or how you're providing customer experience to your customers to potentially reevaluate that process or make it a better process. So just because you're doing something one way doesn't mean you always have to do it that way. If you've got new data that indicates change is warranted, then you got to jump on it. And so I think those builders, they're just flexible, right? They're adapting to whatever condition is in the market or whatever problem they have in their business and figuring out a way to deal with it.
Absolutely, Chris. And looking at a different view on things here. Chris, you've been in the home building industry for a very long time, right? So I think the audience would love to hear your insights on this. Wanted to zoom out a little bit. Over the past 5 years, we've seen a lot of consolidations happen within our industry. So a two-part question, I guess the first part being, how is that changing the landscape for builders overall? And then do you see this consolidation driving innovation? Is it creating new challenges or positivities across the board? Yeah. Thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah. So a couple things. Actually, you mentioned how long I've been in the
Yeah.
industry. It has been since 2005, so it's quite a while. There was a downturn, great financial crisis during that time. There were peaks. There was a
Hmm.
pandemic. There's just a lot going on at that time.
For sure.
Um, I think yeah, during that time, there's also been a lot of consolidation. I looked at some stats a little while ago, and I think back in 95, the top 10 builders built 9% of the homes in the US.
Hmm.
In 2005, so 10 years later, that number is 24%. And in, I think, 2023, that number was 43%. And
Wow.
so all during that time, like you've got all this consolidation happening. The big builders are getting bigger. We've got big builders in our customer base. We've got smaller builders. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is we want all of our builders to be fierce competitors. And so we want our regional builders, our smaller builders to be able to compete effectively in their markets. We want our big builders to get bigger and to continue doing really well across all the regions that they operate in. But when you think about that level of consolidation, it's a lot. And the big builders are getting bigger and they have very sophisticated demands on technology, and they need good partners that are going to invest in the industry for the long term. Certainly, we've done that at Constellation. I've always been a product and a customer person, right? That's always been what I've been super excited about, and working closely with our customers. I think, well, as the industry consolidates, and we don't know exactly how much further it's going to go
Right.
every day, not every day, but every month, there's another builder that's getting acquired or a restructuring that's happening. And like I said, for the most part, as the consolidation happens, the builders need a good partner that's going to be there for them. And that's certainly the approach that we've taken within Constellation. But at the same time, the smaller builders, there's going to be really good builders throughout the industry that will need tools to be able to compete. They still need to be able to sell homes in a professional way. They need to be able to build homes effectively and efficiently, probably more efficiently than before. And they got to be able to look after their customers. And there's still lots of builders that are growing during this time. We've had many builders from the worst of the financial crisis grow with us. We've supported their growth, and they've gone from very small builders up to public home builders now. And there's still a lot going on. You combine that with just other sort of technology changes. There's certainly the mobile device is much more prevalent. There's a lot more demand for real-time information. We're still, as an industry, scratching the surface of what AI will do for us. And I think, again, these companies where you've got flexible senior management and ownership teams, and you've got curious people that are actually interacting with customers or with trades or with other employees in the business. For a company that's flexible and willing to adapt, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for them to use AI to be more effective, just as a time saving or as a way to help with some decisions or some analysis that may not jump out at you as obviously. You might be able to use AI to do it a little bit better. And I think from our perspective, there's going to be opportunities for us to incorporate more AI into our products. Several of our products already have it, and we have it in some of our operations right now. But I think there's going to be more opportunity to do that and for people to become more effective and more efficient. Like, they're going to be able to do things much quicker than they would have done before. So I think the trick is to know what you need to do and realize that you're probably going to be able to do it a lot quicker than you would have been able to otherwise. So for someone who has a vision and who knows what needs to be done, you should be able to get that accomplished very quickly.
Nice. And so from your conversations, when we're looking at any common trends or strategies that top performing builders are leaning into right now, what would some of them be?
So top performing trends or strategies, I think they're all, at least the ones I've spoken to, they're really paying attention to their sales pace, right? They want to make sure that they're able to sell homes. So they have to have a well-functioning sales process, well-functioning website. They need to take care of any leads that come in, make sure that they're pushed towards the buying cycle. And then when they get there, they need to make sure they've got a product that will match. And so I think we're seeing builders pay more attention to different price points, different spec levels, different styles of building, and hopefully that will improve some of the affordability as well. And then some of the other trends, it's really around collaboration, right? And so working with their partners, whether it's their trades, whether it's their software providers, whether it's their suppliers, real estate agents. The game has changed in so many ways, especially when we consider the real estate market in the US and working with real estate agents and the different rules in that area. Things are changing. So the best builders are going to have to adapt and collaborate and figure this out with all their partners.
Thanks, Chris. And as we head into the second half of 2025, I want to take a look at the housing market outlook and tariffs. What's your prediction? What's your outlook on the housing market? Are we seeing a slowdown or something else?
Yeah, I think definitely seeing a little bit of a slowdown. I would say March, if we look at that as 1 month, there's some decent sales levels across our builders from what we gather. At the Builder 100 event, Ali Wolf, I believe she said she was expecting about a 5 or 6% decrease in home starts for the industry in the US. I think that was one stat that was shared. I think the tariffs could have I think she said a 9% impact overall on the cost of building a home. These are significant, 5 or 6% reduction in home starts. I think the industry can certainly handle that. I think it allows them to take a breather and to focus on some of their internal systems and efficiencies and processes and how they can make things better and prepare for what the business will be like in a few years. There's still a lot of demographic changes. There's a lot of just things going on as the population demographics changes, as people age, as people come into the workforce, maybe with different expectations for home ownership or the types of homes that they want to purchase. So those are long-term trends that I think will continue to exist, and builders will need to pay attention to that. And I would also say on the customer experience side, there's a lot of investment in really providing a good customer experience to your home buyers, right? You want them to be happy, you want their needs to be met, you want to answer their service questions or warranty questions, and you want them to ultimately refer, right? You want them to encourage their friends and family to buy a home from you, or you want them to buy their next home from you. You want to make sure that you really pay attention to those, because that can be a big impact on the future of your business as well. And fortunately, we've got tools that help builders manage that.
And I'm pretty familiar with them, but I remember when I started, it was 2021. It was right after COVID. Homes were selling. Builders
Yeah.
weren't even, not that they weren't really focusing on their customer experience, but it wasn't as much of a hot topic. But now you really see the need of them wanting to differentiate themselves. And one of the ways they're doing that is through their customer experience and looking at their promoters and seeing who can offer them a referral in the marketplace. So the fact that you said that kind of resonates with something I repeat maybe 10 times a day, every day.
Absolutely. Looking ahead, Chris, as everything that you just mentioned is what we hear. So certainly it is a small little slowdown that we're experiencing right now, but builders are optimistic. It's what goes down has to come up. A lot of builders are just taking this time to either improve internal processes or to focus in different areas of their business. But looking ahead at 2025, we're nearing the end of Q2. As interest rates are expected to ease in late 2025 or early 2026, whenever that case may be, how should builders be positioning themselves at this point now to pivot quickly?
Yeah, like obviously, I think all of our customers and any modern home builder, they're the best position to make a decision like that. I wouldn't certainly expect to tell them how to run their business, but we can certainly give them some insight into how their business is changing or how it's operating. So I would say definitely engage with, whether they're one of our customers or not, engage with your partners to understand your systems, right? Look at the data that's coming out of them, make sure that it's relevant and accurate, and that you can make decisions based on it. We're available to help all of our customers and any future customers in the industry to do that. But you really got to pay attention to it, get some people on the team that are curious about the data and will ask lots of questions, and then look for ways to change. Like I said earlier on, I don't think you got to be able to adapt. Don't just continue doing something because that's how it was always being done. Take a look at it, see if there's a better way, see if there's some new technology you can put on it, or maybe even use the technology you have more effectively, and go a long way.
Appreciate that, Chris. And just one last question. As far as I think this is important for our listeners here, we're all about offering true integrated solutions here at Constellation. So from your vantage point, what do you think some of the risks are of having a system that's not necessarily integrated, whether that's supply chain intelligence or basically not having a system that can be depended on in a single platform? What are some of the risks of that?
It's really it's confusion, right? Obviously, that can lead to mistakes or people making decisions that may not be warranted given the truth. And so if you don't have a good way of knowing what the truth is, because you've got different systems telling you different things, that's a huge problem. One of the things that even for us, like we provide these end-to-end solutions for home builders. I wish there was an end-to-end solution for a software company, right? Like we've got different systems that we use for different things, and we try to piece it all together, and that's a challenge for us. And we're doing things to combine it, much we expect our customers to do. But it's heavy lifting and it takes a while, and there's like change management with people and process and technology. And it's a tough challenge. I would say like really try and get to the heart of the business, the metric, what it is you need to run the business, and then look for ways to get a single source of truth for that information. You don't want one report saying one thing, another report saying another, and then you don't want to spend an hour discussing which one's correct.
All right. And I know Bryan said that was going to be the last question, but before we wrap up the industry talk, we've got a little detour for you. We know you're an avid mountain biker, and rumor has it you've been training for a new challenge. How's that going? Are you still managing to squeeze in some trail time between all the builder events?
Yeah, for sure. It's been wet here in Ontario for the month of May. So not a ton of riding. The mountain biking season never really ends for me, but it's definitely ramping up now. I did a charity road ride with some of our Toronto home builders. little while
Nice.
ago, and it was a great time. It was great to see everyone out there having fun, and weather ended up being great. A little bit of rain towards the end, but it was just a great ride for a great cause, and it's nice to be out there with our friends in the industry. So I'll definitely look to do more of that, and yeah, I'll be all over the roads and trails this summer.
Yeah, no, that's great. And perfect lead into this, not to put all the pressure on you, Chris, but we're introducing a new segment here. Hopefully, this will be one that we'll be doing with other guests that we bring on to the Power to Build show. But I wanted to do a guest 30-second quick fire rapid questions.
Okay.
You're really good at these. Marco and I are just going to fire a few questions at you and just answer the first thing that's on your mind.
Yeah, I should have known something was coming because Marco was smiling as you were asking.
Yeah, exactly. I guess first question, Chris, what's your favorite trail snack when you're out riding?
Usually Cliff Bars or what, the
Nice.
little
Good
energy
choice.
gummies. Yeah.
And the most epic trail you've ever ridden and why?
Hmm. There were some pretty crazy ones in California, ones where I wasn't quite sure if I was going to make it down without wiping out. Had to create some crazy road rides in Colorado, actually. We did a charity ride out there one year, and this is a few years ago, but it was pretty long climb, and then the descent was a little crazy coming down with some gravel and sand on the road as we're making these left turns with
Mhm.
cliffs on the right hand side.
Awesome. Awesome. One piece of tech, Chris, business, life, bike, something that you can't live without.
Oh, it's got to be Strava. Like I'm on Strava every day for
Nice.
my biking and stuff. For work, everyone in the company knows I love getting the stats and metrics about the business. I have probably all these different reports that I get mailed to me automatically every morning, and it's fun to look at them and then ask questions as they
They
come
don't.
up.
We used to have a big TV at the office that would show them. Is that still something? Is that not coming back or?
Yeah, no, I think we took it down because we needed to consolidate some of our data to provide
Yeah.
better dashboards. Yeah, we'll see that return soon, I hope.
All right, and if you could instantly master one new skill, what would it be?
Uh, New skill.
Consolidating data?
I do that a lot. I feel like I'm okay with that. What do I want? A new skill.
It's always a hard question. It's almost
Yeah.
like asking, tell me about yourself. I hate that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a skill. I guess it is, but not really. I like reading, and I find the best time to read is when I'm on a plane. Maybe the skill of finding more time to read interesting books when I'm not on a plane.
Cool. Awesome. And last but not least, what's your go-to pump up song before a big ride or a big meeting? There's got to be
Um,
one, Chris.
what do I got? See, the problem, and I joke around with my kids about this all the time, but they're starting to pollute my playlists. And
Yeah.
so a lot of the music that's on in the car or in the house is theirs.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I don't even know who sings it or what song it is, but I don't know. I like chill music usually.
Awesome.
Great. This has been honestly a great conversation. You've given us and all of our viewers, I'm sure, a lot to think about.
Before we wrap up, any final thoughts, Chris, for builders looking to stay competitive and resilient in the months ahead?
Yeah, I would say, like I said it several times on this in this discussion, really reach out to us, reach out to your partners, and brainstorm for solutions to any issue that you want to address. Either we can help, I'm sure your trade partners and suppliers, they'd be willing to help out as well. And make sure that you've got a good partner for the future. We're here for our customers. I think we do a lot to give back to the industry. We spend a lot of time working with our customers, visiting them on site, preparing for our customer conference, meeting them at industry events, preparing webinars, release notes, just a ton of things that we do to share and collaborate with our customers. I think it's a great thing, and we're gonna continue doing a lot of that.
Awesome. So thanks again, Chris, and thanks to our listeners. Don't forget to subscribe and share Power to Build. Until next time.